Today I wanted to talk about my most useless gun that I don't recommend anyone buy because I've already done a video on High Point, which I think is useless and no one should ever buy. So I wanted to show you I'm not immune to that. This is an Iver Johnson Bicycle Works. Yes, Iver Johnson Bicycle Works. They did make bicycles and pistols. And eventually during the World Wars they also made rifles. It is chambered in a .32 caliber round and a .32 S&W or .32 Smith and Wesson short or just .32 short. It's a tiny little cartridge. It was very popular late 1800s, early 1900s as a pocket gun. Some of the old texts talk about people who were on bicycles carrying these for defense against wild dogs. Whether it's true or not, I have no idea, and whether the dog was four or two-legged, that's up to you to figure out. But this is what was called a safety automatic, and that does not mean it's automatic. It's still a revolver. It's a double-action to single-action revolver. You can cock it, see it revolves, and then fire it, or you can just pull it all the way through. And the neat thing about this is it's the Smith and Wesson design, so it has what's called a transfer bar on the inside. So your hammer, you can see, is flat. It doesn't actually hit the firing pin or have a beak. It hits a small bar, which sends a firing pin into the cartridge to set it off. Nice little safety design. It means you can't set it off just by beating on the hammer, which would be its only safety. Now, the reason it's called a safety automatic is because of that transfer bar. And the reason it's called an automatic is, this is the top hinge here, is when you open it up to load or unload it, you can see that right here this comes out of the cylinder, and if you do it fast enough, it pops the empty shells out, automatically unloading it. That's where the term safety automatic came from. There were a lot of these around for a lot of years. Once again, they were made late 1800s, early 1900s. They were fairly popular because, as you can see, it fits basically in my hand. But the downside was the cartridge it shot. This is a .32 S&W or .32 short. It's a .32 caliber lead, traveling somewhere around 705 feet per second from the muzzle, maybe 120, 109 foot-pounds of energy. Not a whale of a cartridge, but at that time, preferable to nothing. Remember, back in the 1800s and early 1900s, there were a lot of these .32 calibers of many different kinds. The .32 remained popular in different forms in Europe all the way up until the 9mm really took over. So not an uncommon cartridge. Loading it and unloading it, pretty simple. It's a top break, like most of the old Smith and Wessons were. You just drop them in. And once again, this is lead round nose. If you have one of these, I really recommend you find the old, what's called black powder equivalent loads. That means that there is much less pressure and they're using powder that will give the equivalent of an old black powder cartridge, because these were designed for cartridges containing black powder, not smokeless. And there it goes, shuts right down. You've got 5 rounds in these. And there were a lot of different ones of these made. H&R made some, Smith and Wesson made some, but the Iver Johnsons, there are a lot of them, or were. And after you fired all your rounds, you pull up on this little toggle here, up it comes, and shoots them out. And that is why it's called a safety automatic. It just throws them out. Now you can see this one, it's a little stuck, because it is a useless firearm, and I paid $75 for it. However, I love it. As you can see, it's kind of stuck in there. That takes a little practice figuring out how to get those out. It does happen from time to time. Once again, this is a very old firearm. It's been around the way, and this just kind of happens. You said you fight with a little bit, and out it comes. It is a completely silly firearm to own, but I like it. I've always liked it. I remember seeing them as a kid, and like I said, they can be picked up for fairly short money. I don't recommend you buy one. Shooting them actually is quite pleasant because it's the equivalent of a .22 basically in its recoil, but the sights are not stellar. You can see you've got 2 little blades and then a great big blade in the front. Kind of hard to line up, and because so many of these are so old, they're usually worn out, and they weren't known for accuracy anyways. I can tell you with this one at 7 feet, I have no problem putting it where I want it to go. That may not be your experience. The other thing is a lot of these had pitted barrels, cracked barrels. You can see with this one some of the finishes coming off. That's to be expected with a 100-year-old gun. But like I said, it's a silly gun that I don't recommend anyone buy, but I enjoy them. So if you have any questions, or if you ever fooled with one, or want to tell me about yours, just please leave it in the comments below. Thank you.